I have a few special tips for Sue.
You'll never believe what really happened to Carol Speed, despite giving us stellar performances in movies like Abby. So, the industry came down hard on her after she wrote and published a tell-all book exposing her colleagues. Now, she was already handicapped as a black woman, so exposing the industry's evils just got her totally blackballed. It was so bad that she even got embroiled in issues with co-stars like Richard Pryor, who co-starred with her in the Mack.
Don't get angry. It's true.
So, how did things get so bad for Carol? Could it be the industry's abuse that messed her up so bad she ended up having a mental breakdown? Stick around, let's talk about it.
Why am it? I have a few special tips for Sue.
Carolyn Ann Stewart, known as Carol Speed, was born on March 14, 1945, in Bakersfield, California. Her parents were Cora Valerie Stewart and Freddie Lee Stewart. She grew up in San Jose, California. From a young age, she loved performing. When she was 12 years old, she got her first acting role in a theater play called The King and I. She also sang in a group with her cousins. In high school, she was very popular. She was voted best all around by her classmates. She graduated in 1963. Carol made history by becoming the first black homecoming queen in Santa Clara County. She was also one of the first black students to get a scholarship to study at the American Conservatory Theater in San Francisco. Carol started her career in entertainment as a singer. She worked as a backup singer for Bobby Gentry at Harrah's Club in Reno, Nevada, but she also wanted to act. In 1970, she got her first TV role in the show Julia.
I'm tired of looking at ugly nurses. I married one.
Which starred Diane Carroll. After that, she appeared in TV commercials and small roles in different shows. Between 1970 and 1972, she acted in Sanford and Son.
What's the six-letter word for a TV show starring William Conrad?
Think.
And Days of Our Lives.
On Days of Our Lives, a mysterious lover from Lee's past rekindles fiery passion.
In 1972, Carol got her first movie role in The New Centurions.
He's got soul. He get us some scotch and milk. We ask him pretty.
She played a prostitute named Martha. That same year, she appeared in The Big Bird Cage, an action movie with Pam Grier and Sid Haig. In 1973, she played Lulu in the film The Mack. Lulu was the best friend of the main character and an important part of the story. This role made her more famous.
Something, man.
When you got nothing and you want everything, you gotta get to be the Mac.
On the Mack set, some cast members did not always get along. While details about Carol Speed's problems with co-stars are unclear, it was common for black actors to deal with conflicts behind the scenes. There were disagreements about who should get the best roles. Some actors felt they were not treated fairly. These struggles made working on the film stressful. Another problem on the Mack set was Max Julian's behavior. He was one of the stars of the movie, and some people said he was difficult to work with. Some actors on set felt he was too focused on himself. He wanted to be the center of attention and did not always consider the feelings of others. Working with someone like that could be frustrating, especially in an already stressful environment. In 1974, Carol starred in the horror movie Abby. She played a minister's wife who became possessed by an evil spirit.
Why am it? I have a few special tips for Sue.
She also wrote and sang a song for the movie called My Soul is a Witness. This film became popular and people remembered her performance. In 1976, Carol was on the cover of Jet magazine. She continued acting and appeared in the movie Disco Godfather in 1979 with Rudy Ray Moore.
Yes, this is the Godfather talking to you.
In 1980, she wrote a book called Inside Black Hollywood. She was offered a small role in Quentin Tarantino's 1997 film Jackie Brown, but decided not to take it. In 2006, she returned to acting in a horror film called Village Vengeance. There was some drama with the film Abby. Things did not go as planned. After just 2 weeks in theaters, the movie was pulled. The people who made The Exorcist said Abby was just a copy of their film and sued. This was a huge problem for Carol. She had been so excited, thinking this movie would make her a big star. But instead, it was taken away. This was not the first time Carol faced trouble. Just a year earlier, she had a personal tragedy when Frank Ward, someone close to her, died. That event caused her a lot of stress, and she even had a mental breakdown. Now, losing Abby made things worse. Carol had always found success easily. She had talent, and things usually worked out. But now, for the first time, she was struggling. She did not know how to handle it. People whispered that Carol was jealous because others were still doing well in Hollywood while she was losing opportunities. Whether that was true or not, Carol decided to shake things up. She started writing a tell-all book about Black Hollywood. She was ready to expose secrets. The book was called Inside Black Hollywood, and Carol was determined to tell her side of things. At that time, Carol was dating Monty Kaye, the ex-husband of actress Diahann Carroll. Monty warned her that writing the book was a bad idea. He told her it could cause problems, but Carol did not listen. Instead, she broke up with him. She was not going to let anyone stop her. Richard Pryor.
Then the police came. I went in the house because they got magnums too, and they don't cars.
The famous comedian was also worried. He invited Carol to his house, hoping to change her mind. He and his friend, Roseanne Cash, tried to talk her out of it. They told her it was risky to share too much, but Carol did not care. Gossip says she told them that she had the right to tell her story. She was not scared of anyone. Carol wrote the book anyway, and it caused a stir. People in Hollywood started to panic. She changed the names of the people she wrote about, but everyone still knew exactly who she was talking about. One of the first people she wrote about was actor Max Julian.
You know, man, all are the same, just like my hoes, you know. I keep them broke.
In the book, she called him Henry instead of his real name, but it was clear who she meant. Carol claimed that Max was arrogant and full of himself. She said that while filming the Mack, he tried to get her fired. She believed he was mad because his girlfriend, Vanetta McGee, was not cast in her role.
About me. I'm gonna do what I've been doing, and that's nothing.
Carol did not stop there. She also wrote about Vanetta. She made it seem like Vanetta was not very talented and needed Max to help her get roles. She even hinted that Vanetta had a bad attitude and was difficult to work with. Drugs were also a big part of the story. Dorothy and the other actors used many illegal substances. They drank, smoked, and took different kinds of drugs. The book described how drugs were everywhere in Black Hollywood at that time. While sex and drugs were common in the story, violence was not as big of a focus. There were fights and conflicts, but the book did not focus on action. Instead, it showed the drama and chaos behind the making of the movie. Then, Carol turned her attention to another actress, Annazette Chase.
You and Ali.
No, not that kind of fight.
What other kind is it?
She changed her name in the book, calling her Tanya. But once again, people knew who she was talking about. Carol suggested that Annazette got her role in the Mack by sleeping with one or two directors. She also claimed that Annazette was embarrassed when she saw the final version of the movie. Most of her scenes had been cut, and her role was much smaller than she expected. Carol made even bigger claims about what went on behind the scenes of the Mack. She said that almost everyone on set was using drugs.
Don't get angry.
She described it as a place where cocaine was everywhere. She said that before each scene, people had to wipe their noses to remove the white powder. She also told a shocking story about Richard Pryor. Carol claimed that one day she, Annazette Chase, and Richard Pryor were sitting together snorting cocaine. Suddenly, Richard jumped up and started yelling that he wanted to kill someone. Carol and Annazette got scared and ran out of the room. Richard chased them, but then ran past them and punched the film's director, Michael Campus, right in the face, knocking him out. Security guards rushed in and pulled Richard away. But he was not done. Carol wrote that later that night, Richard was still high and out of control. He went to the hotel where the film's producer, Harvey Bernhard, was staying. Carol claimed that Richard broke into the producer's room and started attacking him. He had a metal rod inside a sock and was hitting the man across his stomach. These were just some of the wild stories in Carol's book. She also wrote about Pam Grier, another famous actress.
You want to see some silly? If I have to tell you to shut up one more time, I'm gonna shut you up.
Carol claimed that Pam had relationships with several powerful men in Hollywood. Carol's book made a lot of people angry. Some wanted to sue her. Others wanted to pretend the book did not exist. It became very rare. Even though Carol used fake names, her stories were too detailed. People in Hollywood were sure she was telling the truth. She had lived in that world and had seen everything up close. Some people respected her for being honest. Others thought she was just bitter and trying to ruin careers. Carol's speed had always been bold, and she was not afraid to speak her mind. But her tell-all book came with a price. Hollywood can be a tough place, and exposing secrets can make enemies. Some believe her career suffered because of the book. Saying one big mistake was writing a book that upset a lot of people in the movie industry. She thought she was getting revenge on certain people, but in the end, she only made things worse for herself. Black actors didn't want to work with her anymore because they were afraid she would write about them too. Casting directors stopped calling her for roles. Carol wanted to get back at people, but instead, she hurt her own career. As the years passed, she became depressed. She started using drugs more and more. She also partied a lot and spent money she didn't have. Things got really bad for her. Her last big movie was Abby, which came out in 1974. After that, she didn't get any work for 5 years. That was a long time for an actress. Finally, in 1979, she got a role in a movie, but it wasn't a good one. It seemed like someone just gave her the job out of pity. It was a terrible time for Carol. After that, things didn't get better. She left Hollywood and went to live with the musician Sly Stone. She stayed with him for 3 years. During that time, she tried to get her life back together. She wanted to clean herself up and start fresh. But when she finally tried to return to acting, people in Hollywood hadn't forgotten about her book. They still saw her as a troublemaker. She had been away from the screen too long, and the roles she got were small. In the 1980s and 1990s, she acted in a few movies and TV shows, but her parts were tiny. Sometimes she only had a few lines. Other times she didn't speak at all. The big career she once had was gone.
And I didn't want to pass up this golden opportunity.
Some people believe Carol suffered a mental breakdown. By the early 2000s, rumors started spreading that she was acting strangely. People said she was talking nonsense. She told others that her mother and father were not really her parents. She even claimed that she was born in Germany and that her real father was former US President Dwight Eisenhower. Some people said she told them she was a German princess. Carol then became very active on social media. She opened a Twitter account and started posting a lot of strange things. She also joined a website called The Author's Den, where she shared even more bizarre thoughts. She made wild claims like saying actor D'Urville Martin was murdered, even though reports said he died of a heart attack. She also had strong opinions about filmmaker Spike Lee.
I'm not saying it. I think for me, the only one to say.
She seemed to dislike him a lot. She even made comments about politician Nancy Pelosi, claiming that Pelosi was stalking her and blocking her emails. Carol also believed government agents were spying on her and sneaking into her house. Her Twitter account was filled with strange posts. It seemed like she was lost in her own world. She kept posting all the way up to 2014, but then she suddenly disappeared from social media. Some people think that her family stepped in to help her. Others believe she simply faded away from public life. After Carol disappeared from the public eye, not much was heard about her. It was said that she had a son, but sadly, he passed away before she did. In the 1990s, she moved to Atlanta, Georgia. She lived there for several years before moving to Okmulgee, Oklahoma. That was where she spent her final years. On January 14th, 2022, Carol Speed passed away at the age of 76. Strangely, she died just 13 days after her longtime rival, Max Julian, who passed away on January 1st, 2022. Many people have theories about what happened to Carol. Some believe that after she wrote her tell-all book, someone did something to harm her mentally. Others think that starring in Abby, a movie about demons, caused her to have mental problems. But when you look at everything, it seems like her struggles just got worse over time. For many years, black actresses in Hollywood struggled to get good roles.
Love. You know, I'm sick and tired of men using love like it's some kind of disease you just catch. Love!
At first, they were not allowed in movies at all. Later, they could only play certain characters. Most of the time, they had to act as servants.
Little cousin arrived in town unexpectedly, and under the circumstances, Evie'll have to go to the dance with him.
Enslaved women.
Darling? What is it? Flossie, we've got to have a...
Or exotic temptresses.
Yes, Mr. George, I presume.
These roles did not show them as real people with deep stories. They were just there to fill a space. Even after black actresses became more accepted, they still faced problems. Even when they won big awards, like the Oscars, they still found it hard to get good roles. The film industry continued to treat them unfairly. One example is Halle Berry.
I'm Ginger.
She became the first black woman to win an Oscar for Best Actress.
And the Oscar goes to Halle Berry in Monsters Ball.
She thought this would open doors for her, but instead, she found it hard to get important roles. She was still overlooked in favor of white actresses. Whoopi Goldberg also won an Oscar, but had the same experience.
Well, racism is in the heart of the country. It just, you can't get away from it. It's, children are taught it without realizing that that's what they're learning.
Monique, another Oscar-winning black actress, spoke about how Hollywood ignored her after her win.
When I saw Taraji broken on those platforms, it was painful to watch.
Even Octavia Spencer, who won an Oscar, had trouble getting fair pay.
That good vanilla from Mexico, and something else real special.
She needed help from a white actress, Jessica Chastain, who used her influence to get Spencer a higher salary. This showed how black actresses needed white allies to help them get what they deserved. Television was not much better. Black actresses often played the sassy best friend of a white character. They rarely got leading roles. Diahann Carroll changed this when she starred in Julia from 1968 to 1971.
I'm tired of looking at ugly nurses. I married one.
She was the first black woman to play a lead role that was not a servant. People loved her performance, and she won a Golden Globe. But even after her success, she had to wait over 15 years to get another regular role on TV. This showed that Hollywood still did not fully accept black actresses, no matter how talented they were. Black actresses also faced problems behind the scenes. One big issue was hair and makeup. Most hairstylists and makeup artists in Hollywood were trained to work with white actresses.
When I first did Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix, I'd get to set for our sort of pre-production and things, and the The woman that they had assigned to do my hair, she's not able to.
They did not know how to style black hair or match makeup to darker skin tones. Because of this, black actresses often had to do their own hair and makeup before coming to set. This was an extra burden that white actresses did not have to deal with. Diane Carroll once talked about how she had to arrive camera ready because the stylists did not know how to work with black hair. Hair has always been a sensitive issue for black actresses. In the 1960s and 1970s, afros were very popular, but Hollywood did not want black actresses to wear their natural hair on screen. Cicely Tyson was one of the first to wear an afro in a movie.
Morning. I'm going to try to persuade her to take a walk, go to see a movie, do something, anything to take her mind off.
Later, she switched to wearing braids. People saw this as a bold statement. Actress and writer Lena Waithe once said that Cicely Tyson's choice to wear her natural hair was a form of protest. She was standing up for herself and for all black women. Even today, many choose to wear wigs or weaves. This helps protect their natural hair from damage, but it also makes it easier to fit into Hollywood's beauty standards, which favor white features. Directors and producers often prefer straight hair because it looks more traditional in their eyes. This is a result of racism in the industry. Black actresses sometimes feel forced to change their look just to get work. Outside of Hollywood, black women deal with the same problems. Schools have punished black girls for wearing their natural hair. Some have even been sent home because of it. In 1999, tennis star Venus Williams
It's not finished until the last point, no matter how close you get, and I just wanted to hang on to it.
Was penalized when beads from her cornrows fell during a match. Black women in the military were not allowed to wear locks until 2017. All of these examples show that the fight against hair discrimination is not just about Hollywood, it is happening everywhere. Hollywood's sexual exploitation of women and stereotypical roles for black actresses. Some people in power took advantage of women who wanted to be stars. Some actresses were expected to have relationships with producers or directors to get roles in movies. This was not right, but it happened often. Women, especially black women, had fewer chances in Hollywood, and some felt they had no choice. They wanted to follow their dreams, but the system was not fair to them. Many talented actresses did not get the respect they deserved. In the 1970s, a type of movie called Blaxploitation became popular.
Of your age. See the government's propaganda machine.
You mean if we can turn the machine in our favor?
These movies showed black characters as tough and street smart, but they also had many negative images. Black actresses were often given roles as drug users, sex workers, or criminals. Even though these movies gave them work, they did not help them grow in Hollywood. They became stuck playing the same kinds of characters over and over. Actresses like Carol Speed wanted to show more talent, but Hollywood kept giving her the same roles. She and many others were not given a chance to play serious or important characters. This made it hard for them to have long and successful careers. The problem was not just about the roles, it was about Hollywood itself. If they refused to play a bad stereotype, they had to wait a long time for another job. Sometimes when they took a role, people criticized them for playing into Hollywood's ideas about black women. They could not win either way. Hollywood made it difficult for black women to succeed. Many had to work harder than white actresses to get the same recognition. Some actresses gave up because the struggle was too much. Others kept fighting for better roles and respect. The unfair system made it hard for them to grow as artists. But even with these struggles, many black actresses refused to let Hollywood define them. They continued to push forward, proving that they had the talent and strength to shine.